Hi, I'm Jay Jones. At this point, you know that. I'm the founder of the Divorce and Custody Success program, and this is the module on how to protect your kids. What's the secret? No hiding the ball here. The secret is doing what's in the best interest of your child. We're going to talk about what that means because it has a very specific legal impact on your case, as well as how that's really going to help you get your mind right around this case and how to approach things with your children, as well as with the court. Okay. This is important to me personally, deeply. Here's why. When I started in the law, my job was to protect the best interests of children. I was what they call a guardian ad litem. It was a very honorable work. It's something I loved. And a couple of those kids have grown on to maturity, gone to college. One of them is still with me. Now I still mentor that young man, and I'm very proud of him. Look, you can have a major impact on your kids' lives by making sure you focus on the best interests and help the court do that. So additionally, I'm an adopted kid. I know what it's like to have somebody have to be in court talking for you so that your heart is not hurt by this court process and your best interests stay in front of everyone who's going through the process. I've also been through the process as an adult. I'm part of a blended family. We had to go to court and deal with a custody battle with my son. Learning how to present to the court what was best for my son, so the court would understand we weren't trying to just make this a battle between individuals. We were really trying to do what was best for the wonderful young man who is my baby. That the court could understand that this was coming not just from vengeance, but from love. That was a personal experience that changed me, not just as a person, but also helped me as an attorney, because if you're going through this, I feel you. I really do. Okay? Let me back up a little bit here. When people come to me and they talk about their divorce case or custody cases and they have kids, one of the first things that comes up is, should we stay together for the kids? Brief answer, no. Okay, let me make it a little bit of a longer answer. As always, got my handy dandy notes and Tony Robbins planner. So here's an article I came across called Should You Stay Together Only for the Kids? It was in Psychology Today. Here's a quote I want to share with you. It's in your 5 Secrets to Success book that you have with you, okay? Here's the quote. Major long-term studies show that although many children experience short-term problems and setbacks, the vast majority rebound after a year or two. On balance, children of divorce become well-adjusted adults, as long as they have at least one loving parent who remains committed to their welfare. That's interesting. Far from suffering inevitable damage from divorce, children can benefit from seeing their parents decide for happiness and fulfillment. Okay? What that means is that, actually, let me give you another quote. There's another parent that said it better than I could. A fellow named Patrick Coleman at Fatherly. What it means is your child is still looking to you to learn what a healthy relationship looks like. That's a wonderful quote from Patrick Coleman over at Fatherly. Your kids are going to learn from you, okay? Your kids are going to look at your example. In fact, if you want to understand a little bit more about yourself, you might look at your parents or your spouse's parents if you want to know why they act the way they do. Your kids are going to model you. And sometimes that means that you might have to make a change. That's perfectly fine. It's okay. It doesn't make you a bad parent. It also means that far from actually scarring your kids, you may actually be helping them, because if they see you choosing a life of happiness and fulfillment, that's something that they're most likely to model. So you can be helping not just your kids, but your grandkids, even your great-grandkids. If you have a cycle in your family that you're trying to change, this is the place to do it. When you talk about shaping your future, this is a wonderful place to start. And if you have a history where you've struggled in relationships, or maybe your spouse has, you're not quite sure how to proceed. Maybe you don't have a great model. Maybe you're doing wonderfully on your own, but you don't have a model that you can turn to. This is where the counseling part can come in, okay? Everybody that goes through this process could use at least someone to talk to professionally, whether it's 1 session or 20. Sometimes it doesn't take more than just sitting down, running through some things with somebody, but make sure that you sit down and chat with a professional so that when you hit on this area in your case, you're not dealing with demons from your past or passing them on to your kids, because that's not what anybody wants to do. Okay, now, we got our mind right about, we know that We got to think about the best interest of the kids. That's important. Wonderful. But who gets the kids? Bottom line, right? Okay, I understand that. That's why the legal standard of what's in the best interest of the child matters so much, because across the country, this is the legal standard now. People will ask me, does the court have a preference for a mother or for a dad or somebody with the most money? Even grandparents get involved. Look, the court is now going to be looking at things through the eyes of the child. They're going to want to know what is in the best interest of the child. And if what you're telling me about the other party is true, then how does that impact the best interest of the child? Everything that you say and do in your custody or divorce case concerning your child needs to always be framed in terms of what is in the best interest of that child. That's actually the secret to success in your case. And in some cases after the case, because as you get this mindset, you start to shift as a parent and it becomes easier to focus on what's better for your kids. But in your case, the court is always going to wonder, what's in the best interest of the child here? Across the country, and if you look into the free ebook that you have or the Success Planner, you're going to see a link to check out what the law is in your state. The court's going to be looking at what is in the child's best interest. One of the factors they're always going to look at no matter where you are you able to put the best interest of the child in front of your own? A lot of parents are not able to do that. Example, had a parent who she loved her daughter very much. Awesome. But the daughter could have spent a year in Japan studying with the father at a very high-end school, all paid for by the government. And the mother didn't want the child to go because she was going to miss her. Not exactly winning argument to the court, because number one, you missing your kiddo doesn't explain to the court why is it in your child's best interest that this child should not go to Japan and have this amazing experience. Number two, it's an amazing experience that you're going to take away from your kiddo because of your own emotional state. That's not putting their interest first. What you want to do is be the exact opposite and say, look, I understand this is an amazing opportunity for my kiddo. I'm going to miss my child terribly. How can we work it out so that my child gets everything they need, which is this amazing experience, and I can still see my child? Maybe we'll work out visits, maybe we'll work out weekly Skype calls or more. Maybe she lives with me when she comes back for a year. Maybe we can figure something out. How do we make this work so that my kiddo gets whatever they need? Does that make sense? I hope that it does. Okay. So you've got to make sure you put your kid's interest first. Pardon me, got to go look at the handy dandy notes here. So now that we're thinking about what's going to be in the best interest of your kiddo, we're going to start thinking about your own situation, right? What's hard about doing this course by phone is normally when I talk with people, it's one-on-one, right? That's what my one-on-one consultations are for. And it lets me hear your story and address it. But here's some of the common situations that come up. Let's say that your ex is just awful. Okay, period. Just cannot work with them. And one of the things they do all the time is called disparagement, which means they're speaking badly about you to the kids, and they're putting the kids in the middle. The court hates that. Never put the kids in the middle. Don't ask the kids to decide where they want to go. Not that you're the parent, not the kid. But some parents forget that. What do you do to tell the court, oh my God, this person is just ripping my kid apart? They're terrible. And the court's going to understand an old axiom. It's in family law, which is if you take a swing at your ex, you're probably going to hit your kid, because your kid sees themselves as part of you and of your ex as well. So if you say something about your ex-partner that's bad, your kid hears it as bad about part of themselves. The court knows this, okay? How do you tell the court, wow, this is going on? There's something called the anti or non-disparagement clause that you can ask for. Just tell the court, look, this is what's transpiring. It obviously is painful for me, but this is seriously damaging for my child. Because when my child hears something bad about me or the ex or grandparent or the brother or sister, they are internalizing that as information about themselves. You see how this is moving around to being from the kid's perspective? It is not in my child's best interest to be put in a position where they are forced to hear information about a family member that they love because they internalize that as information about themselves, and that hurts them. That's an argument a court can get with. And by the way, most courts are going to swing your way if you're asking for courts to cut out, if you're asking for someone to cut out disparagement. It's something that, as painful as it can be to hear at the time, oftentimes it will show the true colors of somebody who's really going to exhibit that kind of behavior, and the court's going to take full notice of that behavior. This is how you bring it to the court's attention, okay? So it'll also make you stand out in front of a lot of parents. Let's say you've got a situation where your kid is maybe a little older. This comes up a ton with teenagers, and they decide, I want to come live with you, or I don't want to live with you anymore. I want to change custody. Okay, first and foremost, remember you're the parent. Kids are always going to do things to make their lives a little easier. Let's just put it that way, okay? All right, we got two. I know, all right? Make sure that you stay in the parental role, all right? Now, how do you, if you're a parent, let's say you want to have the kid come stay with you, tell the court that this is in the child's best interest? Well, one of the things you're going to want to look at is telling the court, hey, here's the school situation. Here's how schools work out a little better. Here's certainly economics can be important. If there's a situation where maybe the child is struggling with your ex-partner's new relationship, this is the time when you can bring up maybe your ex meeting up with a partner who's not so great. And it doesn't mean that you're throwing mud on that relationship. It allows you to say, in the context of what's in the child's best interest, hey, look, my ex is now dating an axe murderer. That's not great for the kid. This often shows up sometimes if somebody gets connected with somebody who maybe has a questionable sexual past. That can come up. This is when you bring that up. This is how you let the court know about these facts and not look like you're a vengeful person, but like you're a parent whose primary focus is what's in the best interest of your kiddo. Okay? Now, what do you do if your ex does have a partner that you don't dig? First and foremost, there's not a lot you can do unless you want to have a clause in your agreement that says you guys get to sign off on who each other dates. Nobody wants that. That's a bad situation. But let's say somebody has a really questionable past, okay? Or if there's some behaviors that are being reported to you that are really, really, really dangerous. Always protect your kiddo. There's actually motions you can file to restrict parenting time. We can do that here in Colorado if you've got something really dangerous going on so that the court can investigate further. Additionally, you might seek what's called a protection order. Hey, look, something's going really sideways over there. There's abuse happening, which could be verbal, it could be physical, it could be mental. There's something awful going on that's really hurting my kiddo, and I need it to stop, okay? You can interject yourself in that situation with the help of an attorney, or if you just want to go to court, file for a protection order or that motion to restrict parenting time so that the court can start to become aware of what's going on. But when you do it, you want to do it in terms of what is in the child's best interest. Hey, look, my new, what would it be? I guess let's call it the new partner of my ex has an anger management problem or a substance abuse problem. This has impacted my child by grades are dropping. The child is not sleeping. The child is emotionally distraught. God forbid it goes into anything physical. Those kind of things you can relate to the court, and now you're the parent who's being the protective parent. It's very important that you be the protective parent, because if you are not the parent who speaks up to protect your child, the court may actually intervene to remove the child, not just from your ex and from that situation, but maybe even from you. Because the court may say, you're not a parent that can protect your kiddo. You didn't speak up. It's okay to speak up. This is just how you do it. Always in the context of what is in the best interest of your child. I hope you're finding this helpful. If you're looking at what the best interest standard is, I did give you a link that you can look at online in your workbook, but it's different in every state. But I hope you get the general idea that, look, the most important thing here is that you put your kiddo first, okay? Now, I hope that we've touched on a lot of what you need here. The key to success when it comes to dealing with anything in a divorce or custody space around your kids is making sure that whatever you do is always framed as being an action you're taking to be in the child's best interest. Not just framed that way, but it should be actually in your child's best interest. And when you express that to the court, it should be framed that way. So the court knows that you are not a parent who is acting out of vengeance or a parent who is incapable of putting their own needs behind the needs of their child. You will stand out from 80% of the people that come before the court if whenever you speak to the court, even if you're talking about an ex or a really, really tough situation, you always do it calmly and in terms of what is in the best interest of the child. I hope you found this helpful. And let's move on to the next section, which is if you're protecting your kids, we've got to make sure you can protect yourself. See you in that section. Take care.